In this video, you'll learn all about creating and using motion paths in DaVinci Resolve. Motion paths are lines or paths along which animated objects or effects can be made to move. Paths can be closed shapes like circles, squares, triangles, rectangles, or any irregular shape. Or they can be straight, jagged, curved, looped, or any combination of these. They help simplify the creation and maintenance of complex animation involving moving objects or effects. We'll cover motion paths for use in 2D animation. There are two types, polyline paths and XY paths. Any object to be animated along a motion path, whether a graphic image created within Fusion itself, a video clip, or an imported graphic like a PNG or JPEG, should be connected to a transform node. Also, when using imported media, it's important to ensure its resolution matches the project's resolution. You can easily check this by loading the imported media into Viewer 1 and the Media Out node into Viewer 2. The resolution is displayed in the upper right of each viewer. Media Out will have the project's resolution. If the resolution of the imported graphic or clip doesn't match, insert a resize node between its node and the transform node. Using the size and aspect controls within the transform node, you'll be able to adjust it to your liking. No adjustments need be made to the resize node. If a resize node is not used in this situation, the imported media will not properly align with the motion path. Move the playhead to the frame where the animation is to begin. Select a transform node for the object to be animated. Either right-click on the center parameter in the inspector and select Path from the menu, or right-click on the center coordinate control in the viewer and select Transform Center, then Path. This applies a path modifier to the center XY parameter pair. This tells Resolve that center XY marks out a path. After applying the path modifier, the modifier tab at the top of the inspector will be enabled. Notice also that the center XY parameter pair has been keyframed. Position the object where you'd like it to be when the animation begins. The object can be moved by using the on-screen controls in the viewer or by adjusting the center XY parameter pair in the inspector. Move the playhead to another frame and position the object where you'd like it to be at that frame. Notice that a line has been drawn from the first position to the current position in the viewer. This is the motion path. The center XY parameter pair will be keyframed at each position. Continue laying out the path in this way until you've reached the end of the animation. Adjustments can now be made to the path. Control points can be added to the line by clicking on it. Doing this will not keyframe the center XY parameter pair. Control points can be dragged about to change the shape of the path. To delete a point, click on it to select it and press the Delete key. Clicking on a control point will reveal two handles. These can be used to adjust the shape of the path around the selected point. To affect only one side of a control point, hold down the Command key or the Control key in Windows while adjusting the handle. Control points can also be selected by drawing a selection rectangle around them. To select all points, click the Select All icon in the Viewer toolbar. Clicking the linear icon will straighten the path, removing any rounding. Clicking the Smooth icon will round the path at each control point, creating a smooth or rounded path. When done making adjustments, click the Done icon on the toolbar to prevent further changes. You can come back and edit the path at any time. Just select a transform node and click the Insert and Modify icon in the Viewer toolbar. When done making changes, click the Done icon. Playing the clip, we see that the object follows the motion path. To correct its orientation, right-click on Angle in the inspector and select Connect to Path 1 heading. If the orientation is still incorrect, insert a second transform node before the first one and adjust its angle parameter without connecting it to the path heading. To make the motion path available to other objects, it must be published. Click on the Modifiers tab. At the bottom, where it says right-click here for shape animation, right-click and choose Publish from the menu. If using more than one motion path, it's a good idea to give each motion path a meaningful name. Right-click on Path Polyline at the top of the inspector and select Rename from the menu. Insert a paint node into the node tree. Select the Polyline Stroke tool by clicking its icon in the Viewer toolbar. Lay down points by clicking the mouse in the viewer. This will be the motion path. The line can be shaped as the points are laid out. To draw a straight line, hold down the Shift key when laying down a point. Once complete, the line can be adjusted. Click the Insert and Modify icon in the toolbar. You can click on any control point to change the shape of the line. If the control points are not visible, click on one of the ends of the line to reveal them, or try clicking anywhere on the line where you think a control point might be. This may take a few tries. A new control point can be added by clicking on the line. The tiny handles can be used to adjust the shape of the line. To adjust only one side of a control point, hold down the Command key or the Control key in Windows while adjusting the handle. To delete a control point, click on it to select it and press the Delete key. A selection rectangle can be drawn around one or more points to select them. To select all points, click the Select All icon in the toolbar. To remove any rounding, click the linear icon. To add rounding, click the Smooth icon. When done making adjustments, click the Done icon on the toolbar to prevent further changes. The paint node can now be disconnected from the node tree, but not deleted. The line can be edited at any time. Simply reinsert the paint node into the node tree and make sure it's selected. Then click the Insert and Modify icon in the Viewer toolbar. When done making changes, click the Done icon. The paint node can again be disconnected from the node tree. To turn this into a motion path that can be used to animate objects, it needs to be published. In the inspector, expand the Stroke Control section at the bottom. Where it says right-click here for shape animation, right-click and choose Publish from the menu. If using more than one motion path, give the path a meaningful name to prevent confusion. Click the Modifiers tab at the top. Right-click on Polyline Stroke Polyline and select Rename from the menu. The paint node can be left in the node tree and the line even animated if you wish. It will have no effect on the motion path. Either way, give the paint node a meaningful name so you know its purpose. If you delete the paint node, the motion path will also be deleted. Use a different paint node for each motion path created. Bring down a polygon mask node, but do not insert it into the node tree. Begin laying down points with the mouse, just as when using the paint node method. To adjust the line once done, click the Insert and Modify icon in the toolbar. Modifications can be made as when using the paint node method. When complete, click the Done icon to prevent further changes. The line can be modified at any time. Just select the Polygon Mask node and click on the Insert and Modify icon in the Viewer toolbar. Click the Done icon when done making changes. To publish the line so it's available as a motion path to other objects, right-click at the bottom of the inspector where it says right-click here for Shape Animation, and select Remove Polygon Polyline from the menu. Right-click again and select Publish. To name the motion path, click on the Modifiers tab at the top. Right-click on Polygon Polyline and select Rename from the menu. Give the Polygon Mask node a meaningful name so you know why it's there. Do not delete it. If you do, the motion path will also be deleted. Use a different Polygon Mask node for each motion path you create. Regardless of how a polyline motion path was created, the method to use it is the same. Here's a motion path created with a paint node. I've named it Hills. We'll attach this PNG graphic of a car to the path. To do that, first select the Transform node and right-click on Center XY in the inspector and select Path from the menu. This applies a path modifier to the Center XY parameter pair. The Modifiers tab at the top of the inspector is now enabled. Click on it. At the bottom where it says right-click here for Shape Animation, right-click and select Connect to Hills, that's the name of the motion path, Value. The car has been positioned at the start of the motion path. Double-click on Path 1 at the top of the inspector. These are the modifier controls for the path. We can change the path's position using the Center XY parameter pair, adjust its size, and even rotate the path. Adjusting these controls does not alter the original motion path, as this is a separate instance of the path. The path can also be manipulated directly in the viewer, but in this case, all instances of the path are altered. To get around this, copy and paste the motion path from another object. This will be covered later. The displacement parameter is used to control the car's position along the path. Remove the keyframe and position the playhead where you'd like the animation to begin. Use the displacement slider to position the car where you'd like it to be on the path when the animation starts. Keyframe the field. Continue moving the playhead and adjusting the displacement slider to position the object along the path until you reach the end of the animation. Playing the clip, we see that the car's orientation is off. To fix it, click on the Tools tab at the top of the inspector. Right-click on the Angle parameter and select Connect to Path 1 Heading. Now the car's orientation is correct. In some situations, this still won't orientate the object correctly. When that happens, insert a second transform node before the first one and adjust the angle parameter without connecting it to the path heading. The spline editor can be used to adjust the displacement spline, which corresponds to the displacement parameter, to control the speed at which an object travels along a motion path. Here's the displacement spline for the car. I'll adjust its shape so that the car slows down as it reaches the top of each hill and then speeds up as it goes downhill. Lowering a control point will slow the car down, and raising a control point will speed it up. A flatter spline lowers speed, and a steeper spline increases it. The spline can be rounded to smooth out transitions in speed. Click the Select All icon in the toolbar, and then select the Smooth icon. To smooth out the spline manually, select a control point and use the handles to shape the spline. A motion path can be connected to another motion path to create complex animations. Here's a blue diamond connected to a circular motion path named Circle Path. Here's another motion path created with a paint node named Horizontal Path. We'll connect the blue diamond's instance of Circle Path to Horizontal Path and have it move across the screen from left to right. Select the blue diamond's transform node. Click on the Modifiers tab. Here are the path modifier controls for the blue diamond's instance of the Circle Path motion path. Apply a path modifier to center XY. A new set of path modifier controls have appeared named Path 2. Right-click at the bottom where it says right-click here for shape animation and select Connect to Horizontal Path Value. Double-click Path 2 at the top to expand the path modifier controls. Adjust the center XY parameter to position the circle path on the left side of the viewer. Remove the keyframe from the displacement parameter and move the playhead to the first frame of the clip. Keyframe the displacement parameter. Move the playhead to the end of the clip. Using the displacement slider, position the circle path motion path on the right side of the screen. If needed, a value greater than 1 can be entered directly into the edit field for the displacement parameter. Now, when the clip is played, the blue diamond moves from left to right as it circles around. Deselecting the transform node will hide the paths. In any case, the paths will not be visible when the project is rendered out. Locked control points are created when using the first method of creating a motion path, that is, by positioning the object in the viewer. The other two methods of creating a motion path, using a paint node or polygon mask node, create unlocked points. Here's the displacement spline for a motion path created using the first method. Each control point is represented by a lock icon. But what does this mean exactly? First of all, it means its value cannot be changed. In other words, the locked control point cannot be moved up or down in the spline editor. It can, however, be moved horizontally, changing the frame at which the control point is located. Notice how at the second control point the yellow diamond is over the red circle, and at the third control point it's over the blue circle. No matter where the second control point is moved, the yellow diamond will always be over the red circle when the playhead is over that control point. And the same is true for the third control point. No matter where it's moved, the yellow diamond will always be over the blue circle when the playhead is over that control point. In the viewer, locked control points are presented as large hollow squares. It's easy to toggle between locked and unlocked points. Select one or more points in the viewer, right-click, select Path Polyline at the bottom, then select Lock Points. If the points are locked, they'll be unlocked and vice versa. XY paths are a second type of motion path. X and Y paths do not have displacement splines, but they do have separate X and Y splines that can be manipulated independent of each other in the spline editor to position the object. Adjusting the X spline moves the object side to side, and adjusting the Y spline moves it up and down. Position the playhead where the animation is to begin. Select the Transform node. Using the on-screen controls, place the object where you'd like it to be when the animation begins. To apply the path modifier, either right-click on the center coordinate control in the viewer and choose Transform Center, Modify with XY Path, or in the inspector, right-click on Center XY and choose Modify with XY Path. Position the playhead at its next position and move the object using the Transform node's center coordinate control in the viewer. The Path Modifier controls in the Modifiers tab can also be used to position the object. Continue doing this until you've reached the end of the animation. Once complete, the path can be modified just as when using the first method of creating a polyline path. To name the path, click on the Modifiers tab. At the top, right-click on Transform Center XY Path and choose Rename from the menu. Select the Transform node. Right-click on Center XY and choose Connect to XY Path Name Value. Be aware that the object that was used to originally create the XY path cannot be separated from it. In other words, a separate instance of the path is not created. Select a transform node associated with the path to be copied. In the Modifiers tab, right-click on the path's control header and choose Copy from the menu. Select the destination transform node. Apply the path modifier to center XY. Click on the Modifiers tab. Right-click on the control header at the top and choose Paste from the menu. Click on the Modifiers tab again to adjust the position of the path and other attributes. The path can also be altered directly in the viewer without affecting other instances of the path. You can also paste a motion path onto an existing one. In this case, the existing motion path will be replaced and there's no need to apply the path modifier to center XY. Right-click on Center XY in the inspector and choose Remove Path from the menu. To remove an XY path, select Remove XY Path. So that's an in-depth look at motion paths. They're quite useful for carrying out certain types of animation. Thank you for watching.